Visit sun-trial.com or call 844-680-9150.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to the Rod Arquette Show. This is Boyd Matheson sitting in for Rod Arquette today on Talk Radio 105.9 KNRS. Thanks for having us along for your drive time commute or wherever you're headed on a very nice Wednesday afternoon here in the great state of Utah. We were fortunate to have Representative Mia Love with us in the first block there, talking about some important things in terms of her One Subject at a Time bill, some great work she's doing in conjunction with Senator Mike Lee and others in the House on the Article 1 project, really restoring the power of the purse and the other structural components to Congress to be a check to the presidency, and also her work on the Select Committee dealing with the unborn and some of the important things that are happening there. It's been very interesting today to look at all of the hand-wringing and the analysis that's going on around Donald Trump winning in Nevada last night. Another significant double-digit win for Mr. Trump, and now everybody is in a panic. Nobody knows what to do. You've got the establishment and the Republicans back in Washington all trying to scramble to see what can possibly be done. You've got other candidates, including Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz, Governor Kasich, that are all kind of scratching their heads and trying to figure out why they can't break through and why Donald seems to be so Teflon. You've got outside groups, conservative groups that are frustrated and calling for a revolution. You have all kinds of just hand-wringing going on in the media of how did this happen? How did we get to this point where a Donald Trump could actually be leading and have the clearest path to the nomination? And the thing that has been most frustrating to me is the fact that Donald Trump is a creation of the establishment, of the base of the party, and of big business. Let me tell you why. So the base of the party, the real hardcore conservatives at the base, they started back in 2010. They got some great momentum during the Tea Party era. Everybody started to come out. There was a lot of anger. There was a lot of frustration. And then what happened is you have what I call the conservative industrial complex. So a lot of these organizations that raise a lot of money online and through direct mail on anger. They decided, wow, this is a great cash cow. This is a great way for us to get income to fund the things that we want to get done. But unfortunately, by focusing their efforts on anger, they shouldn't wonder why people are responding to the anger and the angst that comes from Donald Trump. They've been conditioned for the last 6 years to respond positively to anger and angst. So I do think there is a little bit of fault at the base of the party and a lot of these conservative groups that have fostered the era of anger. Now, likewise, I think there is equal blame, if not more blame, at the top of the scale with the Republican establishment. And they have spent the last 6 years breaking promise after promise, from defunding Obamacare to getting rid of executive amnesty and a host of other promises that so many of them ran on to get elected, only to turn tail and run. It used to be the theory was, we'll just live to fight another day. And unfortunately, I think they've transitioned that into live to retreat another day, live to surrender another day. And so, of course, the American people are frustrated and angry. We saw that again in the entrance polling last night in Nevada. Over half of the people who went in to vote feel betrayed by their party. So, of course, they're angry. Of course, they're frustrated. And, of course, they would respond positively to a message from Donald Trump. Outsider, someone who's going to come in and shake things up, who's not going to do it the same way that the establishment folks have done. So there's a lot of blame to go there with the Republican establishment. And then you've got big business. Big business has spent the last 6 years getting pretty fat and pretty comfortable, being able to deal with President Obama and with the Republicans on a lot of crony capitalism. And so that, of course, has made the American people frustrated as they see a lot of these big businesses being carried or given significant advantage because they're wealthy and well-connected. And so, of course, they're frustrated. So when a populist message comes in, they're going to respond to it. So nobody should be surprised that Donald Trump is winning right now. The question is, who's going to stand up and call it for what it is? Senator Lee has been saying for years that anger is not an agenda, that frustration is not a platform, that cynicism isn't even conservative. And someone has got to stand up in this election, and I think it's going to require everybody at this point. If you are not on the Donald Trump bandwagon, you better be applying the brake pretty heavily, and you better be getting out and doing some things. And I don't care who you're for. If you're for a Marco Rubio or a Ted Cruz or a Governor Kasich or even a Ben Carson who's still in the race, something's got to happen where these other four decide to quit trying to shoot each other and turn their attention to Mr. Trump, to call him out for what he is. And to me, he's more myth than he is real. And he's not a real leader because Donald Trump is playing to the most base emotions. We were having this discussion with some friends this morning that he's playing to the base emotions: fear, anger, frustration. And you can look through history. No great leader has led anybody anywhere just based on fear, anger, and frustration. You can do it for a time. You can do it for a little period. But nobody's really sustained it. No one's been able to really build something important out of that. And we're at a point in our history where we have got to change the game. We need a leader who can not just say the things that need to be said. And Donald Trump has done that. I will give him credit. He has said what we've all been screaming at our televisions and radios for the last 6 years. He said it. But there's a big difference between saying what needs to be said and doing what needs to be done. And it's time for a whole group of people to stand up, speak out, and say, look, this is not what we are about as a party. It's not what we're about as a country. You know, the Republican Party is always at its best when it's the party of big ideas, bold ideas, and open debate about those ideas. But unfortunately, we've allowed this monster to be created. I've actually looked at an interesting analogy. I'm convinced that the American people want to be led. More than anything else, they want to be led. And it's actually biblical. If you look at the children of Israel, they so wanted to be led that they were willing to go with a golden calf, just so they had someone at the head, just so someone was fighting for them. We're going with a golden hairdo at this point. And I think that Donald Trump is really not even real. He is just America's desperation for a leader. And so we're going to talk some more about this as we move through the remainder of the program tonight. If you have thoughts and ideas about what you think a real leader is and what we need to do as a country to move forward, give us a call at 888-570-8010. Again, 888-570-8010.